my name is Rossella and today I'm going to do chapter 3 in this book. If you haven't done it yet, subscribe to my channel to be the first one to watch my next video. Remember, you can also visit my website theoryvirtuoso.com where you can find all the videos that I publish. You can also find me on Facebook, Theory Virtuoso, and Instagram, Theory Virtuoso. Thank you for watching. Bye!
This third chapter relates to pitch and in particular explores the notes with up to 3 ledger lines and transposition of notes by 1 octave. I would recommend not to look at the box above when doing exercise 1 because we want to test our knowledge and we want to know how much we know about it. And especially use when you don't know something or you can't remember it, use the opportunity to learn how to get to the answer. Rely on what you know to find what you don't know. There will never be the case of knowing everything. There's always something that we are unsure about, or we don't know it, or we haven't done it yet. So don't expect that you always know everything. For example, I know that this note is D, Re, because I've been playing for so many years. But if I want to be sure one day, for example, if I want to read this note just to be sure, or this note in the right clef, I will just count. So this is Sol, okay, here, the last note that is watching the landscape from the attic is G, Sol. So Sol, La, Si, Do, Re. I go step by step, line, space, because the ledger lines are pieces of stave that we can't see. So these ones are imaginary lines. So it is an extension of the stave that we can see just where the note is because we need to measure the distance of the note from the stave. In this case, okay, this is the same note, but in another clef. We don't need to count. We only need to do treble clef plus 2. So, Fa. This note here is middle C. This is important, middle C. So we count. Do, Si, La, Sol, Fa, Mi. This is E. Oh, and by the way, in music, we need to know very well a few things. And among them, there are the scales. So the notes in order, up and down. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, si, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. You must know the scales like this, the order of the notes very well. Call them ABC, I don't mind. This is important. If this is Do in treble clef, middle C in treble clef, in bass clef would be Do plus 2, E, Mi. So we can count from this, Mi, Re, Do. So this is Do. Another possible way of doing that is to consider this as a Do, Si, La, and then La plus 2. So A plus 2 equals C. So you can do it before or after identifying the notes. I hope this makes sense. The treble clef, so this is Sol, Sol, La, Si, Do, Re, Mi. So this is Mi, but there is a symbol of a flat, so Mi flat. Okay, we can do the same that we did here. We can do it both the systems. So if this is Sol, let's read it in treble clef and then we do plus 2 at the end. So if this is Sol, Sol, La, Si, Do, Re, Mi, Fa. In the treble clef, this would be Fa. F plus 2, La. If we want, we can go straight to the bass clef scale. So this is solid G in treble clef, so that would be B. So Si, Do, Re, Mi, Fa, sol, la. It's the same. It is really up to you. This is do, do, si, la, sol, fa, sharp. Do, si, la, sol, fa, sharp. Now, don't forget the sharps, in fact, the accidentals they are called. Why? If you think of a keyboard, the piano keyboard, or also the violin keyboard, any instrument, fa and fa sharp are two different notes, two different keys, two different sounds. So, imagine that your name is Anna and I call you Sophia. That's not possible. Okay? Bass clef. So this is mi, I, so mi, re, do, si, la, sol. This is sol flat. The other way of doing it is reading it in treble clef all the way through and then do +2 at the end. So do, si, la, sol, fa, mi flat, +2, G flat. I hope this is useful and clear. Of course, pitch is important. It's an important topic because we must read the notes correctly to do anything in music and anything in theory. So make sure that this system is clear. How do you get more confident with reading? By playing, by sight reading, by experience. It takes some time, but once you get it, it's like learning how to ride a bicycle. You never dislearn it. You never forget it. So once you learn it, it's done forever. It's like learning how to read or how to write. We never forget it. We can't forget it. That's the nice part of it. So do the effort once and then never again. Let's turn the page. In this exercise, we need to tick the clef that would make these notes be read the way they are in the book. So, sol, la, si, do, re, mi. This is I. And if I said sol here, it means that I'm calling the notes in treble clef. So this is treble clef. Sol, la, si, do, re, mi. The same note is called G, so bass. If you don't know what I'm doing here, counting, go and watch exercise 1. Do, because I'm more familiar with this being called as a middle C. So do, si, la, sol, fa. Fa. This is in treble clef because this do is C, middle C in treble clef. Sol, la, si, do, re, mi, fa. This was G, okay, here is in treble clef, so it's in bass. Fa +2 equals la. Okay, do is here, but they say that this is do, so it's bass clef because middle C is here. So do, si, la +2 equals C, bass clef. Am I going too fast? Sol is watching the landscape from the attic of our music house. Sol, la, si, do, re, mi, fa. This is in treble clef. Fa. Again. Sol, sol, la, si, do, re, mi, fa. Now, if this is do, we go backwards. So do, si, la, sol, fa sharp. Now A sharp is fa +2, so this is bass clef. Basically what I'm doing here is that I'm reading the notes in treble clef because this is the most familiar clef for me. But if you are a cello player and if you are more confident with the bass clef, you can do the same but the opposite. So basically you read the notes in bass clef and when they don't match with your name, they are in treble clef. So be smart. Try to get to the quickest way for you. I'm doing this because This is the quickest way for me and for the majority of the students, because we do start learning the notes in the treble clef usually. But if your instrument reads in bass clef, do the other way around. Anything that suits you that can get you to the right answer is correct. Sol, treble clef, sol, la, si, do flat. Now they call it mi flat, which is +2, so bass clef. And with this we have completed exercise 2. I hope this makes sense what I said. Let me know. Exercise 3 now. We need to rewrite the notes in the bass clef, keeping the pitch the same. Now this is interesting. To answer this question, and all the questions similar to this, when we have to compare, for instance, we need to remember this memorime that is included in one of the videos that I've produced about pitch and reading the notes in all the clefs. The link is in the description below, or you can click on this card up here. I say one of the memorimes is this: if the pitch you want to know, middle C, are you above or below? So middle C in the treble clef is down here, middle C in the bass clef is up here. So it is the same note, but one is below and one is above the stave. And we need to remember this because this sol here is above middle C. So we need to produce a sol that is above middle C. So what do we do? Sol, la. We must create the ledger lines. Why? And this is the value, the importance of the ledger lines. Because if I write a note here, would you be able to tell the name? I can tell you this is la. But how can you say it if I don't mark the distance? We do the same when we have to calculate the distance between our house and our school, for instance, 2 places. Okay, if it's for everything, everything works like that. We need numbers to be objective. Okay, so sol, la, si. Okay, to write a sol, I need to write a mi because it's -2. If to read is +2, to write it's -2. So the rules are treble clef +2 equals bass clef. The other way round is bass clef -2 equals treble clef. So we can call this note B to be sure in this case. So si, do, re, mi, fa, and then we need to add another note here, mi, another line, sorry. So B, si, do, re, mi, fa, sol, and this is sol. Remember, above, above. This note, middle C is here, so do, si, la, sol, fa. This is fa sharp. Now, a fa sharp that is below middle C. So do is here, do, si, do is here on the ledger line. Do, si, la, sol, fa sharp. Now, I counted, but I shouldn't have, because the bass clef is the F clef and tells us where F is. So, fa. Fa natural above middle C. So, do, re, mi, and fa. What do I do? Do, re, mi, fa. I count step by step. Okay? Does it make sense? Let's move on to exercise 4. The opposite of before. So we need to write the notes in bass clef. Now rewrite them in treble clef. Again, if the pitch you want to know, middle C, are you above or below? This is mi because fa is here, so -1 is mi. Now to write a mi, this mi is below the below middle C. So a mi below middle C. Do, si, la, sol, fa, mi. Here it is. Do, si, la, sol, fa, mi. It looks awful. I don't like it at all. Anyway, the position is correct. This re is just above middle C because middle C is here, re, one above. So, middle C is here, re. Now, do I need to write a ledger line here? No. The ledger lines always face the stave. We don't need to know that there is another line here because we already know it. We can already place this note in relation to the stave without a ledger line. The ledger lines always face the stave because we need to calculate the distance with the stave, so it's pointless to write it down or up when the note is up, for example. If a note, so for example here, we don't need to write another ledger line here because it's irrelevant. And you can say like, well, it doesn't cost anything. In the old times, yes, it costed ink. And ink was really dear. And work, most importantly, because the music was handwritten and hand copied. So you couldn't take a photocopy, but there would be somebody that would write note per note to produce a score. Do is here, so this is La flat just below middle C. So Do is here, Si, La. Do, Si, La. Flat. Please note that we say La flat or A flat, but we write flat A. Don't get confused. Challenge. We need to rewrite this bar in bass clef, keeping the pitch the same. So this is La above middle C. So middle C, Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La. Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La. Then Do, Re, Mi. Quavers. Fa, it's just one above. Sharp. Then Mi. Once we've done the first one, we just carry on accordingly. This is B, so B is here. And then Do sharp as a crochet, and that's it. So basically, once we sort out the first note, the other ones are easier because we just need to stop earlier. So we just need to like stop at some point. Do, Re, Mi. Another way of doing it for me is a bit more confusing, but you can. It's like take any note -2. So if La -2 equals Fa, and then you write an F in the treble clef. So Sol, La, Si, Do, Re, Mi, Fa. Okay, and so forth. But this is a further step. We add an extra step, so I think it's less convenient. The more steps we have, the more likely we are to make mistakes. So reduce the steps. And to make it laborious as well. Exercise 5. Okay, here we need to write the notes 1 octave lower. So once we find the same pitch, we transpose it an octave lower. So there is an extra step that we must not forget. This fa. Okay, there are 2 ways of doing it. It depends, I think, on the notes. This fa is a fa below middle C. We need to go an octave lower. So to write it an octave lower, we need to go 7 steps lower. So fa, mi, re, do, si, la, sol, fa. Alternatively, you can write another re in the treble clef. Because this note is D in treble clef, so you just write another D lower, a lower D. That's it. For example, let's do it here. This note is Si, Do, Re, Mi flat, okay? So, and this is written as a C flat. So let's write a C flat in treble clef. Another way of doing it is that this is Fa, so 1 step down is Mi. Okay? This is interesting. They say rewriting a melody somewhere else, different from the pitch, the original pitch, is called transposition. So at the moment we are transposing pitches. This is Do. An octave lower would be Mi, Re, Do. Here it is. Why? Because middle C in treble clef is here, so this is Mi in bass clef. Mi, Re, Do. Sol above middle C. Okay, this can be done in 2 ways. Actually, the quickest way is this. Sol above middle C. So we need to write a Sol below middle C. Okay, so middle C is here. Do, Si, La, Sol. Another way of finding this note is this, because this is Fa, Fa plus 1, Sol. I hope this makes sense. This La is below middle C, so La, Do, Si, La. Do, Si, La. This is La, below middle C. Now we need to find an octave lower. So first we find the same pitch. Do, Si, La. This is the note. Okay, so this is the same pitch of this note here. Now we need to go 1 octave lower. So you can count La, Sol, Fa, Mi, Re, Do, Si, La. Or you know that this note in Fa in treble clef, so you write a Fa in treble clef down here. Re sharp above middle C. More than 1 octave above middle C. So what do? Transpose it down an octave. So this is Re sharp. Now we need to find this note here in bass clef. So this is just above middle C. So middle C is here. And this is the note. Sharp. So let's repeat this. This is interesting. This is 1 octave, more than 1 octave above middle C. So I transpose it down in treble clef because I decided that I want to do it this way. It's easier. I'm very familiar with the notes, for example, close to the middle C. So I get there. I try to find a way to get to the area of middle C. So I discover that this note that I need to write is actually 1 above middle C. So middle C is here, plus 1, Re sharp. Does this make sense? I'm curious about the way you were doing this exercise. Let me know, write me a comment. Let's move on now. In this exercise 6, we need to tick the box that shows the same bar, but correctly rewritten 1 octave lower. So we need to be like a teacher of an imaginary student. This is Again, the most important memorime that you need to know here, if the pitch you want to know, middle C, are you above or below? Plus, we don't need to check all the notes, because once we find the first one, we find all the other ones. So, middle C in treble clef is here. 1 octave lower means that in bass clef, middle C is up here, so we need to lower than this. So we need to find the D. This note is low enough, but what note is this? This note is F sharp, so it can't be. This note is B. What does it mean? Nothing. The only one can be this, but let's double check. So we need to write a D, an octave lower than middle C. Middle C is here. And an octave lower would be here. So this is correct. Is exactly what we're looking for. So this D in bass clef would be up here. And so 1 octave lower. Okay? Very good. Let's move on. Okay, this is Re just above middle C. So we need to find the Re, a D, there is an octave lower. So it's closer to here. This makes sense to me. This one is Fa, so we don't care about this. And this is the same. This is just above middle C, so they are the same. So the only possible right answer is this. So maybe I went too far here, too fast here. This is Fa sharp, so it doesn't make any sense. We need to find a D. We don't have to transpose it of any other intervals than an octave. Next one, Fa above middle C. So we need to find a Fa below middle C. Middle C is here. Okay, Do, Si, La, Sol. This is Sol. So it can't be because we need to find a Fa. This note is Mi because Fa is here. So this is Mi flat. It can't be. So the only possible answer is this. And in fact, this Fa is just below middle C. Do, Si, La, Sol, Fa. This is middle C. Above, below. So the trick here is to find also the right note. We can't easily say like, oh, this is below this one. Oh, this is below this one. We need to find the name of the note. Otherwise, you can see that here, all of them are below middle C, but only one answer was correct because only one bar started with the right note. Next one. Mi just above middle C. If the pitch you want to know, middle C, are you above or below? This is Mi just above middle C, so it can't be because it's the same pitch. This Mi is an octave lower. Fa is here and Mi is here. So it makes sense to me. Let's double check this. Let's see if we can exclude it for some reason. This is Do. It means nothing because we need to find an E. So this is the right answer. Have I made it a bit easier and more straightforward? We need to think musically. I will never get tired saying it. It is important. We learn theory to apply it in our practice, which means playing. So we need to think musically. This stuff is actually something to play or to sing something. So to make music from. So we need to take it as it is. Reduce it, so transpose it into a practical thing and you will find the right answer quicker. Let's move on to exercise 7 now. Exercise 7 is the same as before, but 1 octave higher and not lower. So it's the same, but the other way around. Let's see, first the name of the note. This is La, and it's far below middle C, so basically it's more than 1 octave below middle C. So to find it higher, we need to find an A that is very close to middle C. This is a La, Fa, Sol, La, Fa is here, F, very close to middle C. So this could be, I put my finger on it. This La is just below middle C, so this could be, and this La is also close to middle C. So both, all the three of them can be correct. What do we do now? Shall we check the notes? Look at here, there is a sharp missing. So goodbye. Here we have La, Sol, La, Si, Do, Mi, Fa. They are incorrect. So the only right answer is this: La, Sol, La, Si, Do, Mi, Fa. You need to check the notes. Interesting. Second example, Fa sharp, just below middle C. So to be an octave higher, we need to be above middle C. This note, oh, this is B, so this is incorrect. That's a wrong note. And this could be because middle C is down here and it's also Fa sharp. This could be because it's the same. Now let's see, let's check the notes. Fa, La, La, Si, La, Re. This is correct. This is Fa, Si, B. That's incorrect. So this is the right answer. This B flat is just below middle C. So to be an octave higher, we need to be above, up here basically. And this is above. This is B flat above. So this could be. This one is just below middle C, so it can be. And this one is also. Now let's double check the notes. Si, Sol, Si, Re, Mi. This is correct. This is Si, Sol, Si. This is incorrect, you see. So the only right answer is this. Last one. This is La, Fa, Sol, La, just below middle C. We need to find the La above middle C. This is below middle C, so it can't be. This is Fa sharp, can't be. So the only possible right answer is this. A La above middle C. Sorted. Exercise 8. In exercise 8, we need to rewrite the notes an octave higher and in treble clef. So, Sol, a higher Sol is here. Now, if you can't go straightforwardly to the right note, you can only count. Sol is here. Sol, La, Si, Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol. Just count. As I said before, there are a few things that need to be learned really by heart in a way that no one can take them away from your head. And one of them is the scale of the notes. Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Si, Do, Do, Si, La, Sol, Fa, Mi, Re, Do. You can call the notes A, B, C. I don't mind. It doesn't really matter. It's how familiar you are with the scale. Also, starting from any point. Sol, La, Si, Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, Sol, Fa, Mi, Re, Do, Si, La, Sol. Okay? So it's a tongue twister at the beginning, but then in the long run, it repays because it saves you loads of time and makes things much easier and quicker. Now, La, Do, Si, La, we need to write an A above middle C. So, Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La. Also, treble clef, the treble clef is the G clef because it starts on G. So this is the second line, is the line of G. So Sol, La, okay? Re sharp, an octave higher, would be above the stave. So Sol, La, Si, Do, Re, and a sharp. So again, sol, la, si, do, re. Now, please note this, that I forgot to say it before. When we count, why do we count from the stave? I count from the last space that tells me the notes that I need. So the closest I am to the note, the safest I would feel. So if we need to find a note here, why do we count from here? Do, re, mi, fa. So by the time I get to this note, I am very likely to have skipped something, or to have forgotten something, to get confused, or to lose the thread. Just start from the closest note that you remember. And it would be good if you remember that on the top of the stave you have G in treble clef. Now, from bass to treble, this note in bass clef is D, re, okay, because it's just 2 notes below fa. Now we need to be, and this is below, re is below middle C. We need to find a re above middle C, because we need to go an octave higher. So a re above middle C is here. And again, we don't need a ledger line here, because we measure the distance of the notes from the stave. So it's pointless to write it after the note. B flat, below middle C. Now we need to write a B flat above middle C. So I know that this is Do, so one below would be B flat. Now if I don't remember it, I can do like, this is the B that I start from, and then I count Si, Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Si. There's always a way. Rely on what you know to find what you don't know or what you are unsure about. La, so, and I know this because this is F plus 2. If I'm not sure, I can count from F, Fa here. Don't count from middle C up here or something. Fa, mi, re, do, si, la. A backward scale. So Fa below middle C, well, more than an octave below middle C, we must find an A close to middle C but still below middle C, because we have another C here, so we are more than an octave below middle C. So we need to find an A. There is here Do, Si, La. Here it is. I hope this makes sense. So we are more than an octave below middle C, so we need to find a note that is close to middle C but still below, and this is still below. If we find it here, it's 2 octaves higher than this, so we can't. It would be incorrect. Sorted. Shall we now do the challenge? I know that you like me to do the challenge, so I'll do it. Okay, we need to rewrite the notes, the melodies 1 octave lower, and we must keep the melodies sound the same in terms of rhythm and accidentals and everything. Okay, first we need to identify the notes. This is 1 octave above middle C, so we need to find middle C here, minim, then 1 below, then 1 below, the same note, tight, up, up, stems. Now look at here, Do again, Do, Do, Do. Double check, because it might be that as you write, something gets wrong and then it's all wrong afterwards. So occasionally double check. This is 2 notes above, so here they are. Oh, sorry, that's a minim. Mi, re, one below. Do, again. Are they the same? Yes. Do. Ah, again. Oh. Do. It's a bit untidy. Then C. C flat and La. Now please note that the stems now are downwards. This is essential because unless we have 2 layers of voices, we can't write this. Okay, this is incorrect. And why? Because the stems face the stave. It's like a man. It's the body of a person. There is also upside down. So when the head is down, the body is up. When the head is up, the body is down. It's like people. The second one, a piece by Tartini. This is Re more than an octave above middle C. Look at here. Middle C, more than an octave. Now we need to write it 1 octave lower, so we need to write a D. There is just above middle C. So here. Stem, stem, stem. B. Dot and semiquaver. Da, da, dum. The notes first. Stems, beam, semiquavers, last check. Same note, 1 down, same note, tie from the heads. Not here, unless there are different layers of voices. 1 note down. I take the opportunity that I have Do to see if I'm still an octave lower. Yes, I am. Middle C and a higher C. So, what did I do here? I have written the ledger lines first because it makes everything more tidy. Stems, this is a bit untidy as a C. I'm not really comfortable here on the edge of the book. Ledger line, note. Stem, ledger line, note. Stem, dot, tie. Okay, final check. Here it is. Brilliant. Please note that this is not the best rewriting in terms of tidiness and everything, but at least it is clear. In the conservatoire, we were asked to use the ruler for the stems. If you want, you can. I don't do it now, but Apart from this, I'm happy with what I've written in terms of tidiness, but if I want to make it more tidy, I can do this. And now it looks okay. But bear in mind that I did use the ruler when I was a student, and it really set a certain level of tidiness and neatness. Remember, we don't write the music for us, we write the music for someone else to read it and play it. So be mindful of that and always try to write neatly. I hope this was useful, and I shall see you in my next videos. Bye bye!
I hope this video was helpful, and remember to like it and share it with your friends. If it was useful for you, it will be useful for other people too. Now, if you're looking for other chapters of Discovering Music Theory Grade 3, you only need to click there and find the chapter you're looking for. Thank you, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!